Hello and welcome everyone.
Assalamualaikum everyone and welcome to another episode of Great People TV. Minta maaf, sorry lambat sikit, but we had a few, let's just say technical errors before we started this morning. But it's nobody's fault. It's just something that happened. Nanti kita cerita on let's
Next
just say now
episode.
the day in the life of running a live stream show. It's not as straightforward as tekan a few buttons, kan?
Right, betul. Betul. But before anything else, saya nak sangat-sangat kerjasama kalian untuk korang follow kami, The Great People TV on Facebook and guess what? We're on Instagram as well. Yay!
That's
Jadi
right.
jangan lupa untuk follow kami di Facebook dan juga di Instagram Great People TV. Dan hari ini seperti biasa, show kami dibawakan khas oleh AQ Answer.
That's right. That's right. So follow us on Instagram, greatpeopletv.my. We'll have a lot of, inshallah, we'll have a lot of short footages and what they say in TV sound on tape, and then we'll put it on the Instagram as well. But just like Hannah said just now, you stand a chance. Thank you to our sponsor, AQ Answer, and please stick around until the end of the show. Answer a particular question and stand a chance to win an AQ Answer ISO 4-in-1 multifunctional blood glucose meter. This blood glucose meter will help you measure and help you if prevent you from diabetes and other health ails as well. Karena
Betul, betul. Okeylah, Ben, tanpa membuang masa lagi, saya rasa diorang pun dah menanti-nantikan siapakah guest special kita, tamu istimewa pada hari ini. I think you better introduce our guest for today lah.
That's right, that's right. He is a politician, member of parliament of Setiawangsa, kat Malaysia. He's also a writer, a very, very intelligent person, a Malaysian scholar once upon a time before he started his political career where he studied a law degree. So without further ado, YB Nik Nazmi, aka Nick. Nick, apa khabar? Assalamualaikum, how are you?
Salam Ben, Hana, thank you. Saya sehat dan I'm happy to be on the show this morning.
Okay, okay.
YB cuti ke hari ini, YB?
Tak cuti, we rarely cuti.
Right, right,
Okay.
right. Nick, bro, I've got one interesting question to ask you. Did you post the link on your Facebook page? Tak?
Yes, I did.
Okay, okay. So we want your viewers, your followers to listen because I'm sure they're very, very interested to find out a little bit about you. But Nick, tell us, I mean, we'll just get straight into the interview. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us here today with me and Anna and our viewers of Great People TV. Now, Nick, I mean, we've always seen you as a progressive politician, one that likes to take feedback and criticism. But what are you doing these days in terms of day-to-day apart from your MP duties?
Well, apart from my MP duties, I'm actually, I don't know, for whatever reason, a lot of people is doing it now, but I've also finished my memoir. So this is the first time I'm actually telling people lah. Pertama kali.
Wow.
Oh, thank you.
So I've written a few books, but this will be a memoir, satu cerita tentang my life. I know I'm relatively young, but it's a mid-career thing lah, hopefully, something to reflect on and to see how of all the things that we've gone through, macam mana nak bergerak ke depan. For me as a politician, but also as an individual.
Right, right, right.
Cool.
Okay, that's really great to hear, Nick, because like you said, you're young, but I mean, there's no such thing as a boring story, especially in your life. So it's great. I mean, inshallah we'll get a hold of that memoir and have a read of it. But Nick, let's talk about something a little bit more serious. We do live in tough times. That's just a fact. And just yesterday I opened up the Malay Mail, the newspaper. We are full smack in a recession, and it's looking like it's not going to improve anytime soon. I mean, what's your views on that? Because the topic of today is the Malaysia that we want, and you and I have lived, or maybe not so much Hannah, no offense Hannah, you guys didn't go through the 97 financial crisis or or the 2001 global crisis of September 11th, but this is arguably just as bad. So tell us about what it is and how we can sort of navigate out of it to the Malaysia that we want.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously, I think this is probably, in my memory, one of the worst because it's not just, the economic crisis came about because of the health crisis, the pandemic. I think the interruptions that we have for our school children, I have a 10-year-old son who goes to school. it's something like what I hear my dad was telling me about during, my dad is quite old, so he lived through the Second World War. So, then they tak pergi sekolah or nak pergi university, they had to wait for a few years. This is what our generation, our kids are going through right now. Jadi, it's unprecedented, for so many generations. No one has gone through something as bad as this. Finally, we finally, after the problem dekat peringkat awal dan sebagainya, we finally managed to open up or ramp up our vaccination. We finally managed to get the COVID under control, but now suddenly we are hearing the latest Greek alphabet lah. Dulu I tahu alpha, beta, gamma aja, now dah sampai Omicron kan. So this one, really, we hope that, we can pray to God that there are some who say it's not that serious, but there are some that say there's a cause for concern that maybe the vaccines are not fully equipped. But I think it will be the next 1 or 2 weeks, because it takes time for this thing to develop, that we can really see how it is. Because what we are facing before, the past few weeks, yang kalau tengok harga sayur, harga barang, harga ayam, there's a joke that goes around, right? Dulu kita nak makan ikan tu dah lama lah, is considered, makan ikan is considered relatively luxury, kan? Bukan ikan dalam tin, fresh fish. Then nak makan ayam is, which used to be our staple protein, is also now starting to go up. And then telur. Kalau if you are budak university, right, that's your basic staple, basic protein. Telur pun dah nak naik. And then now suddenly sayur. So this is tak kira lah minyak and spare part kereta, those are the other things. That is because the economy is also opening up after COVID, right? Plus some other factors, musim hujan lah apa semua, naik harga feed for ayam, those sort of things. And I think that if we have Omicron, then it's really a double whammy lah. Maybe prices will go low, but that's not the way we want it to go low lah. Jadi, the economy is really challenging, and we hope that it's not as bad as it's made out to be lah. This new virus,
Right,
this new strand. Sorry, yeah.
And one question before I hand it over to Hannah, just on that. So what kind of pressure do you put on the current government, and what kind of questions do you ask every week? Because I know you're not the type of guy that likes to pick a fight. I know you're the type of guy that likes to debate, but what type of points do you put across and said what you're doing well and what you should be doing better, so that this Malaysia that we want becomes a reality? Because like you said, it's tough. The prices are up. Nick.
Yeah, I think there are a few things that they can do. Yes, as I said, and I acknowledge some of it is global. Obviously we can't 100% control the virus or the problems in the global supply chain. But there are various things that you can do. We are still a cooking oil exporter. The palm oil that we consume in Malaysia is relatively small to what we export. So actually, obviously, I know we do already subsidize, but that can be done better, considering that what we earn from the exports. But pada masa yang sama, we also have what do you call that? We can some of that can also go in to subsidize the feed for the poultry, because although our poultry, we have a big domestic poultry industry, tetapi the feed and all that still ada reliance on imports. So those things I think is very basic lah, sebab ni memang orang kata, kalau orang putih kata bread and butter, but we don't eat so much bread and butter. Kita periuk nasi lah, right? That's I think beyond politics, beyond everything, this is what people want to do. And I think if the government's really serious, yesterday I think there was in Parliament a special chamber attended by the minister is of course our Minister of Domestic Trade, Alex Nantalinggi. But from our side, we had Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution, who's the former minister for that portfolio. And actually, Datuk Sri Saifuddin was actually giving him a few solutions. And he took it seriously. Datuk Alex Nantalinggi took it seriously, which is
That's
good.
nice. That's
Yeah,
nice.
and we
So
hope
tak gaduh lah.
that. Tak ada gaduh sangat, because normally Datuk Sri Saifuddin kata normally he will just ask how,
Okay.
or why. He will he will ask the why, but not the how, right? Because that's the job of the government. But he's really giving the how now, so that we can really find a solution, and
That's good.
we hope that the government takes it seriously.
Nice. Nah?
Yes, okay, saya nak berbalik kepada uh, harapan dan juga peluang pakatan harapan dalam next GE. Kalau kita lihat kan, kita nak tengok balik pattern dia sekarang ni. Kita nampak macam masa kat Melaka tu memang kita nampak UMNO sekarang semakin kuat. Jadi macam mana pula sekarang ini dari segi pihak pakatan, macam mana pakatan harapan berdepan dengan cabaran ini, dan bagaimana Pakatan Harapan hendak bersedia untuk beralih ke next GE?
Terima kasih Ana. Actually dia semuanya relatif, sebab pada pilihan raya di Melaka tempoh hari, undi untuk UMNO sebenarnya menurun. Tetapi begitu jugalah, dan lebih teruk lagi lah untuk Pakatan Harapan. Itu saja. Tapi undi semua parti menurun. Bacaan we did satu postmortem lah untuk melihat keputusan Melaka secara detail. Dan bacaan kami ialah if we take the right lessons, and if we do the right strategy based on Melaka, we still can nampak satu ataupun mendapatkan keputusan yang baik dalam PRU yang akan datang. It won't be easy sebab dia ada, I think now the political fracturing ni ada berlaku di mana-mana pihak. Okay, we are talking about UMNO, we are talking about Bersatu, we are talking about PH. So it exists across the board, for better or for worse lah. Tetapi kalau kita ada the right strategy, I think in Melaka tu, satu ialah memang betul pengundi muda tidak banyak yang tidak turun mengundi. Partly sebab nak balik, and all that, the hassles, ada yang masih takut. But also there are those who rasa, why should I vote? I mean, we have to self-reflect on that. Sebab mungkin ada yang tak berapa setuju soal kita ambil calon yang lompat. Itu juga jadi satu faktor. Ada yang tidak setuju dengan beberapa isu lah, right? And so this, and I think macam, to be in all fairness, saya rasa PH kita campaign on our record as state government, and memang saya percaya Datuk Sri Adli, calon ketua menteri, mantan ketua menteri kita, was the best candidate, and he had a good track record. Tetapi rakyat dia tengok benda yang di depan dia, i.e. masalah COVID dan sebagainya, dan kita tidak cukup bercakap tentang what are we going to do. Sebaliknya kita bercakap tentang what we have done dalam era yang mana isu dia sedikit berbeza daripada hari ini. So I think we were too much looking back to the past. And bila kita asyik cakap nak kembalikan mandat, ni macam orang fras bercinta. Okay, dia gaduh dengan awek dia atau gaduh dengan partner dia, I'm being fair here. And then lepas tu member dia ramai kat situ. Tetapi I mean after sebulan you nak menangis, you nak down, you nak suruh as if ni awet semua orang, orang akan power semua orang akan start okay, please move on lah, because so that I think, I'm sorry to say, kita punya masalah kan. So bukan saya tak, of course saya marah pasal pengkhianat, saya marah orang lompat parti and all that, tapi for the public yang tak hidup politik ni 99% daripada kehidupan dia want to tengok isu periuk nasi, dia nak tengok isu reform, agenda reformasi yang kita nak bawa. So I think that is the more important thing compared dengan yang kita kadang-kadang apa yang kita cakap lah, sebab kita sekarang duduk dalam bubble kan, Twitter, Facebook, social media ni, jadi kita merasakan itu yang penting instead of understanding isu rakyat.
YB, bagaimana pula YB melihatkan dari segi hubungan dan kekukuhan jalinan Pakatan Harapan itu sendiri? Sebab kalau kita tengok sekarang ni macam mungkin orang ada sedikit doubt bagaimana pula diorang punya stability. Mungkin juga ada kemungkinankah orang memilih mungkin UMNO atas dasar stability atau macam mana sebenarnya, YB?
Mungkin. I mean, setiap parti saya percaya ada dia punya core strength. Okay. Core strength UMNO memang stability because dia parti lama. Parti yang ada sejak sebelum merdeka, parti yang menjadi sebahagian daripada kerajaan, semua kerajaan di negara kita, dan menjadi parti yang memimpin kerajaan, yang provide Perdana Menteri, kecuali untuk 22 bulan, 2018, 2020. So that is the appeal. Dan mereka juga, I think appeal dia tentulah kalau mereka yang nak melihat satu parti Melayu yang kuat dan sebagainya. Tapi bagi saya tidak mengatakan kestabilan itu tidak penting. But core vote, kalau saya bercakap tentang keadilan ataupun Pakatan Harapan, kita punya core support agak berbeza. Dan itu pun kita tidak betul-betul tunjukkan ketika Melaka misalnya. Our core support untuk tarik balik bukan saja pengundi atas pagar tetapi juga core voters, right? Because for setiap pilihan raya kita ada dua elemen, pengundi core dan atas pagar. So kalau yang core ni, yalah dia patutnya core ni buatlah apa pun dia keluar mengundi. Tetapi PH ni core dia sedikit critical minded. Dia not as easy. You tekan button dia keluar mengundi. Tak. You ada buat benda dia tak suka, dia tak keluar. Alright. Atas pagar lain sikit lah. Atas pagar kena very pragmatic and isu-isu yang relevan pada hari ini. So, kalau keadilan lah, okay, I focus on keadilan, our core voters are economic voters. Dia bukan, mungkin tak B40 sangat, ataupun the upper part of B40 dan M40. Yang mana mereka ni ada terasa, sekarang saya ingat ramai orang rasa tekanan ekonomi, tetapi dia juga yelah, so dia more focus on isu ekonomi, dia more focus on apa yang boleh menaikkan kedudukan dia sebagai seorang rakyat dari segi ekonomi, agenda reformasi dan sebagainya. Jadi dalam isu ni mereka tak, kalau tiba-tiba keadilan nak main isu Melayu, kita takkan menang because that's not our identity, not our strength. So that I believe is our appeal. Sebab itu, if we go back kepada pilihan raya umum 2018, betul isu 1MDB Datuk Seri Najib ni memang membantu. Tetapi core isu yang bagi saya betul-betul bagi orang ni ialah isu GST. Kita kaitkan, orang nampak duit banyak hilang, tiba-tiba dia kena bayar GST, harga barang naik. Kan? So it's something yang buat cerita tu menarik. Tak ada GST, kalau tak ada GST, tiba-tiba ekonomi was good like in the 90s, mungkin BN akan tetap menang dalam PRU 2018.
Right. Well, as they say, YB Nik, health is wealth. So just I wanted to say something about when Hannah was asking the question about when Aki answer was there, health is wealth. So that is what you are trying to look after the people. It's not so much about that, but it's about health is wealth. And don't forget, thank you very much, Aki Answer, for. That's why Aki Answer supports us, because they really believe health is wealth. So, YB, I want to ask about a question about benchmarking. I mean, yes, everybody says I'm no grassroots, traditional, strong Malay party. They have money, even though, I mean, we've heard that so many times. But what is the one, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about benchmarking, kan? And they have been around for a very, very long time. What is the one thing that you all say as a party, okay, they're the benchmark, we have to beat them at that benchmark, let's beat them at that one benchmark. What is that one benchmark?
I think the benchmark, I think that I have to acknowledge. I mean, I've never been in UMNO. Okay, Keadilan is my one and only party. But what I see, what I know, I mean, and I have friends in UMNO.
Yes,
Okay.
that's why I asked you this question, that you can answer it maturely.
Yeah, and I mean, some of our leaders, they were in UMNO at one point. I think it's the organization, the level of management and organization. So I think that is something that maybe because they've acquired over the years, right? Macam dah 60 tahun, whatever. Jadi that I think we have to work on. UMNO has many problems, okay, but dia punya level of organisation, level of party structure and all that is something that we can we must emulate. I know they're slightly different, but even DAP has that level, I believe. But DAP market dia lain. Okay, the party structure is different, the market is different. DAP doesn't focus on membership. I think DAP has over 1,000 members. UMNO has on paper 3 million. Keadilan has 1 million members. Or for that matter, organisation wise, I think PAS is also a very organized structure. So I think, but keadilan has to look at these three models because we straddle daripada kawasan yang Melayu semelayu-melayunya dan kawasan secina-cinanya. You know, places like Permatang Pau, sangat Melayu. Yalah, you have the Seberang Jaya side, but then you also have Penanti, which ada pondok, ada madrasah, Ramah Kayu. But you also have Subang, which is you ada Subang Jaya, ada Puchong, where probably 70% tak pernah pijak basah-basah. Okay lah, I'm exaggerating. Half tak pernah pijak basah-basah. Or anak dia cakap orang putih je. That is that sort of demography that we have to cover. And I think for keadilan, we really have to be open to learn from what works lah. But there are things that then we have to do our way where people have not done it.
Okay. So I'm just going to terbalik the questions that I sent you earlier in WhatsApp, like because you brought up about, what you guys are good at and what they are good at. But in terms of leadership, that has always been a question mark for your party. And I asked you this question because of Datuk Sri Anwar. You worked with him before when you were younger, and you were, if I'm not mistaken, you were one of his special officers, and then you worked with him now, obviously, and now as an MP. Now, he so badly wants to become the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Okay, and a couple of questions there. Will he ever, in your personal opinion, will he ever achieve that milestone? And more importantly, will he be a good leader? Because the way we see it from the media, like you said, I mean, you didn't say it directly, but there's a lot of disgruntled management within your party. So, and usually the finger is pointed at him. So, because Tun Dr. Mahathir, when he came on our show, episode 3 with me and Hannah, he just bluntly said, this man will never be Prime Minister because he will not have the support of the people. What's your views, Nick? For all those questions I just threw at you. Sorry, I threw 3 questions at you.
Alright, it's okay. I'm not going to respond on what Tun said. But anyway, no, I think I would phrase it differently. I mean, yes, I mean it's quite certain that Datuk Sri Anwar has his vision, his ambition. But it's not based on something to me, and I think that's where we joined the party. It's not based on some personal ambition alone. I mean, let's face it, everyone has personal ambition.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But I think the most crucial part is that what does he want to do with it? And I think what inspires this movement when we were ranked outsiders in 1998, 1999, we were born in the streets, was the fact that this was obviously something not just progressive in nature, talking about justice for the common man, but it's also a multiracial movement. So many people have been, whether they left or they got kicked out from UMNO, but they all formed a Malay party. The last one in a major way was actually Dato' On, who formed the Independent Malaya Party, a multiracial party. It did not work out. After that, you had Tengku Razali, who left, and he formed. I mean, with all due respect, I mean, I respect him as a fellow MP, a senior, but he formed Parti Melayu Semangat 46, right? But of course, he then also started this collaboration PAS on one side, DAP on the other side. But basically, the model is still UMNO, new UMNO, or UMNO Light, whatever you want to call it, right? Then when it happened to Tun Mahathir, he had formed Bersatu, right? But when it happened to Anwar in 99, what he did was to take this big gamble with a multiracial party. Okay, and it was serious because at that time, we put our big wigs, Chandra Muzaffar, Marina Yusof, Tien Chua, Ezam, all these people we play Zainul Zakaria, we place them in the urban seats, Lembah Pantai, Wangsa Maju, Bandar Tun Razak, but they all lost because these are whether they are urban Malays with a huge multiracial component. Where we won were mostly the actually what kerusi kesian yang pas bagi kat kita. Okay, that's where we won. Sorry, I'm just digressing, but it's to go back to a point. But eventually, and Datuk Sri Anwar again into when he came out from prison and I started getting involved betul-betul in the front lines was when he started talking about even we need to shift or and dismantle the shift away from and dismantle the new economic policy. And I remember, the likes of Irene Fernandez, even his Chinese friends and whatnot in the party or outside the party were saying, I like the idea, but it's not going to work. All right. But we won big. And it first happened in Sarawak, in Padungan, our Dominic Ng, our first Chinese YB. And then in 2008, we managed to get 31 parliamentary seats. So, and this was truly multiracial, and we have from all ethnicities across all the country. We've won in every state. So I think that is that vision and the party has certainly now reached that stage. So we, places like Bandar Tun Razak, Lembah Pantai, Setiawangsa, Wangsa Maju are all now PKR, right? Because of that decision taken years ago. But so I think that desire, that's what qualifies him because he took this different approach and he has always had this strong sense of responsibility to the common man from the days of, the Baling demonstrations as a student. He has gone through prison. I mean, he could have easily left and take the easy way out. I went to lock up for berhimpun for 3 days and I struggled, right? This guy has gone for 10 years. So I think my short conclusion is that I think he has taken that responsibility at a difficult time. Had PH managed to work it out during its time in power, and okay, I have to mention, I mean, had the transition from Tun Mahathir to Datuk Sri Anwar worked, then we wouldn't have all this crisis. But the lompat at that time from UMNO to Bersatu, and then the uncertainty over the date, and the fact that the Prime Minister resigned because that was his card, right? He resigned, and then that opened up to people, the plotters and whatnot. So I think that Sri Anwar, I mean, obviously he's not, he's been around for quite a bit. But I think this election and all that. There's no question about who can lead it. The important thing, I mean, personally for keadilan, is to showcase more and more of our young leaders. Actually, we are the party with among the strongest second liners, right? We have, of course, a bit seniors, Datuk Sri Saifuddin. We also have people like, I mean, I'm the Chief Organizing Secretary, I'm 39. We have Chang Li Kang, who's 40 or 41. The Vice President, the Treasurer, Lee Chen Chung, is around the same age. Fahmi Fazil is 40. And I think, these are like I'm not, the players that we are not putting back into the Padang yet. Rafizi Ramli, who's only 43, Nurul Izzah, who's 41, right? So we have that strong team, right? So if we, this is like Liverpool a bit, right? Even the reserve bench is so strong, yang tak main pun. But yeah, I mean, we need to really have a good narrative. We need to communicate that. I think that's not being done. And I think with this good team, with Datuk Sri Anwar, then I think, we still have that strength.
Okay, well, speaking of Liverpool and You Never Walk Alone, will, in your opinion, will Datuk Sri Anwar, do you think one day, for his sake, inshallah, he will do the Mandela and become the prime minister, or he will walk alone?
It's also a long walk, right? Mandela was a long walk to freedom. I think he will, because it's not going to be easy again. I think there's certain things that PH needs to settle. I mean, I think PH ni macam again ada a lot of, it's a bit again, I like to use a lovers quarrel punya analogy. But I think, ultimately we've gone through this, but we need to really settle this soon. We also the advantage for us is that everything is so fluid, right? But that doesn't necessarily make it certain, right? But it provides an opening. And I think, Datuk Sri has also repeatedly said that, he's also said he's not going to do a tone. He knows there's a certain time that he will need to get out. Obviously, people who don't like Datuk Sri will say, oh, no, get out now lah. Kan? But I think, there will be a period, but it's GE 15, I think, is still for him to lead.
Right.
That's my short answer.
Right.
And I think GE 15, if we do things right, by the grace of God, I think we stand a chance of winning.
And for our next question, YB, I want Hannah to lead this because, I mean, what a lot of people sometimes don't see because they're complaining about this, that, and the other, especially now. And to be fair, because it is a tough time, and we are talking about the Malaysia that we want. You have done some very good things in terms of the wins that you brought to the Malaysian society, but probably those wins aren't highlighted as much as you would like. So now maybe you want to ask the question in BM as well. So NYB, if you could rojak this answer, because we want the Malay thinking viewers to hear it, and we want the English speaking Malaysian viewers to hear it as well. So Na, can you lead the question?
Right. Okay. Why don't you ask her, because I have some things in mind that I want to ask YB as well. So
Okay.
it's regarding youth punya involvement.
Okay.
But maybe you can ask first and saya boleh translate kan?
Okay. Sure. So just basically the question is, what's this? Tell us Nick, about the wins that you brought to Malaysia, and in terms of with those wins, how you plan to continue and kick on and to make the Malaysia that we want.
Wins, YINS, right?
Yeah, WINS. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Milestones lah, basically good milestone.
Understood.
Yeah. Na?
Ya, mungkin YB boleh bagi tahukan dengan viewers kita pada hari ini sebenarnya ialah apa yang telah pun kita kecapi sepanjang kita membina Malaysia baru ni, insya-Allah.
Kalau dari segi yang lebih besar, saya berharap that kita boleh bergerak ke satu budaya politik baru. I mean, it gets a bit cliche lah kan, dulu pun apa, New Labour, New Britain, and then Malaysia baru. And I remember Tan Sri Azman Mohtar was saying it should be baru lah Malaysia, I mean, it's, because if it's just baru, it doesn't really mean anything, right? We've had UMNO baru and anything. But if you're talking about a new milestone and all that, I really believe in a new political culture. Surprisingly, I mean, politics, if you go to the lounge, dekat parlimen ni dia ada satu lounge. Kita boleh makan, boleh ni. Dia tulis besar-besar hanya untuk ahli parlimen. Tapi ramai je yang lobbyist ke apa, rempuh masuk tu ada. But what I'm saying is, if you go there, you will see that we speak, we can makan, we can drink coffee, we can share. Walaupun ni baru tadi, kalau tengok dekat Dewan, kalau dekat TV tu ingat dah nak bertumbuk. Alright? Tapi dia pergi lounge tu, dia boleh relax. Yeah. Not with everyone, okay? Saya mengaku kalau yang lompat ni saya susah sikit lah. Kalau yang macam UMNO, pas saya relax je. Tapi kalau yang dia dulu kawan baik, dia lompat tu, I'm a bit difficult. But the idea for me is you create a new political culture where you can do things together, where things that you share a common interest. And we under Pakatan Harapan dulu, kita perbanyakkan, we introduce more and more select committees. I was in budget, I was chair of defense and home affairs, now I'm in education. We can go through, we can evaluate policy, kita boleh tengok projek-projek yang tak jadi and everything. And surprisingly, I would say it's much better because tak ada TV. Small group, tak ada TV policy driven. Kalau ada TV, some people dia mungkin terfikir, aku nak tunjuklah kat orang Setiawangsa, aku ni memang lawan UMNO. But here you see things are done more deliberatively. I'm not saying that the lawan part has no place. It has a place because in democracy we need that part as well. Tetapi kena juga ada part where we are able to discuss and deliberate dengan the other side. Um, but so that's the big thing lah, that I think I really hope to do. But another milestone I think is to get this continuous engagement with here I'm being a bit selfish, but because I've been working a lot in the uh, urban poor areas. So I started before saya jadi seorang wakil rakyat, saya mulakan tuition sukarelawan dekat um, Desa Mentari di Petaling Jaya, Dun Sri Setia. Sekarang saya dalam kawasan Parlimen Setiawangsa ada banyak PPR, banyak perumahan awam. Jadi dekat-dekat situ, ini adalah kawasan miskin, bandar. Kita selama ni fikir dalam otak kita, miskin ni duduk kat kampung. Okey, miskin ni gaji 1,000 ke bawah, duduk kat kampung, tanah kecil. Dan kita juga diajar, biasa kalau miskin ni Melayu. Sebenarnya kita ada miskin bandar yang besar. Dan among orang Melayu pun lebih ramai yang dah tinggal di bandar. Itu satu lagi misconception. Orang Melayu ni kampung. Not true anymore. Majority of orang Melayu di bandar dan majority orang di bandar adalah Melayu. So that is the truth. Tetapi tak banyak dasar kita tentang nak selesaikan isu kemiskinan bandar. Because in bandar, kalau kita punya household income 3,000, you ada anak 6, nak cari device untuk 4 orang, untuk anak-anak, it's a struggle. Tambah pula harga barang macam ni. So these are the issues that we need to address. I mean I'm a PJ boy. Saya keluarga sederhana. So I never realise how bad it was. Saya ada dulu pergi sekolah kat Lasal, kawan-kawan kampung Baiduri, Taman Medan. Okey lah kan. Biasa dia orang terror main bola. But kita campur, kita sembang. But only when I started joining politics, I saw the other side of it. So I want to really bring up this issue of urban poverty. Kan ada kajian UNICEF, ada yang makan sekali sehari. Ada kes flat kawasan saya yang dia makan beras je sebab nak jimat duit gas. It happens. Mak buat supaya anak boleh makan elok sikit. And it is multiracial in reality. Ramai Melayu, India pun boleh tahan, China ada sedikit, but basically we have to look at it fundamentally as a nation problem, and I think that is my mission, to bring it up and to find the solutions for these problems.
Right, YB terakhir, bila tadi YB cakap kan, bila YB join politik baru YB sedarkan masalah-masalah ini kan, dan sedar tak sedar, itu adalah lebih 2 dekad yang lalu ketika YB masih lagi muda, young and fresh kan. Jadi macam mana YB melihat sebenarnya cabaran anak muda sekarang yang nak masuk ke gerakan politik ini berbanding dengan YB pada tahun awal 2000 dulu? Apa mungkin kekecewaan mereka, frustrations mereka, apa sebenarnya aspirasi mereka bila anak-anak muda ini join gerakan politik, YB?
Sebenarnya saya rasa sekarang, ni dah bunyi macam orang tua lah kan. And Hana pula ingatkan saya dah tua. Dia sebenarnya, saya fikir sekarang mudah sedikit berbanding dahulu. Of course benda ni nak kata totally baru tak betul. We had that history dari awal lagi negara kita. Tun Razak jadi timbalan Presiden UMNO 29 dan timbalan PM 35 tak silap saya. Datuk Seri Najib of course menang ahli parlimen 22. Tapi apa yang saya nak tegaskan, when we started dulu, internet baru ada, but we had nothing, it's just a redah orang kata, there was no pathway, there was no need, we believe in what we wanted to do. We had a mission. Today I think kalau dekat universiti pun, even AUKU has been walaupun tak betul-betul mansuh, tapi a lot of the portions have been taken out. So dalam keadilan misalnya, we have mahasiswa keadilan Malaysia and diorang menang kerusi dalam kampus. We could not do that dulu. Dulu kena pretend, disguise, macam-macam. Dekat UK pun I dapat surat warning daripada sponsor. So I think that helps. But I think what is important again is not to be activist shock sendiri. That's my point about urban poverty dan sebagainya. it's so easy to just read the headline. Kalau you pro PH, you pro BN, you pro PN, you will get your headlines because that's how the social media works. That's your bubble. So you get excited, you pun, wah, I'm young, I'm vocal, blah blah blah. I should be calon lah, kan? Just because on that. It doesn't work that way. Like I said, I started a voluntary tuition project. I went there, I saw there, I speak to them, listen. You may be, you study at the best university, balik Malaysia. You think you have the solutions to the world. I mean, then if that is the case, it's so easy lah, kan? When you come back, roll your sleeves. Be humble. That pakcik yang jual ketiau, that Chinese uncle jual ketiau kat tepi tu may have a lot of more wisdom than you do because they have, yes, just sit, listen. They may not be correct entirely, but you need to understand their worldview. And that I think is a process that you need to go through rather than just have this nice photo filtered up masuk IG dapat 5,000 likes and then you think that you're king of the world. So I think that is my caution. I sound old when I say that, but believe me, because politics, because it gets so easy these days to be famous, to get that 15 minutes of fame that you think is so easily achieved. If you want to have traction, and ultimately to me, you have to have that soul. Tak apalah you nak masuk parti lain. I don't know. That to me is your own choice. But you have to have that soul, and that to drive you as a young politician, you need that, and you need to be humble. It's not easy, I know, because when you're young, I used to be 20 kgs lighter than what I am today. All right, people always thought me as this young kid yang tak siapa kan. I look 18 when I was 26 when I contested, and people used to treat me macam tu lah. I look 18 kan, they belittle me and all that. But you kena telan lah kan, and some of them went through difficult times, right? So, because I didn't go out, for example, in PKR, I didn't go out to reformasi. Later baru I masuk. So they were telling me their war stories and all that. Layan, you give them respect. But ultimately, people will respect you if you are respectful and you show you are capable. People do appreciate talent and merit. Tapi kena pandai lah. Jangan masuk, aku pandai, aku belajar kat UK, aku belajar kat aku belajar. No, you have to prove yourself and show that empathy.
Right, nice.
So it's a good thing lah. No chances that Insta famous can be representing us. Just say. Okay, Ben,
Yeah, no, I mean, nah, I'm going to ask my final question. Do you have any more questions to ask? Because my question will be the final question of the show lah.
I'm good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so YB, I mean, we are all young, okay, all three of us. Well, when I say young, we're under 50, bukan anak shock sendiri, but we are still young compared to our parents, okay. But our parents now, give or take, are about 60 to 70 lah, okay. So in 30 years' time, 30, 30, Hana is 60 something, then I will be definitely 70 something then, and I think you're about 4 or 5 years behind me, so you'll be in your late 60s lah. Okay, so before we go on our Setiawangsa walk in 30 years' time, and then inshallah all of us will have an accurate answer device, our sponsor, to measure our glucose levels, to make sure everything's okay, that we are managing ourselves and everything like that. So before we do our Setiawangsa walk, what kind of Malaysia do you envision, whether it's actually reality, whether it's actually your vision and dream? What is the Setiawangsa Malaysia that you want us all to walk around? What's the picture?
Well, I'll hope that there'll still be people who say hi to me and recognize me lah kan. But yesterday I went to Sri Setia, my old kawasan, and some people did. But 30 years down the road, I'm not sure. I think the Malaysia that we want is a Malaysia that is comfortable with itself. They, rather than being focused that it's Melayu, Cina, India, Islam, bukan Islam, those are important identities, obviously. These are all part of our identity. I rate it importantly. But at the end of the day, we know that we live in a country called Malaysia. And
Sorry, YB. I gotta stop you right there because this is This, everyone, is where it gets as good as it gets in terms of live TV. I need you just, Hannah, can you just, we're going to retake that question, but now can you ask another sub question? I'm going to go off camera to tell the drilling man to stop, okay? To stop drilling, because we don't want a Malaysia that when we're walking in Setiawangsa in 30 years' time, that people are still drilling. We want to be a fully developed country again. Okay? So I'm going to, like all drilling men, they need a break. Like you said, respect the char kway teow dude. I'm going to respect the drilling man dude. I think it's his time to respect me. Sekejap. Now ask the sub question, please. I'll be right back.
Okey, sebenarnya saya ada satu soalan bonus kepada YB. YB, apa pandangan YB mengenai YB Said Saddiq yang kalau kita lihat sekarang ini fokus pada gerakan muda, tapi mungkin ada sedikit tendensi kepada ke arah tim-tim Tun M dan sebagainya. Jadi pandangan YB mengenai prinsip dan pegangan Said Saddiq ketika ini.
Dia seorang sahabat saya. Saya selepas saya malah saya berkenalan dengan dia sebelum adanya Parti Bersatu pun. Waktu tu dia datang ke pejabat saya ketika itu Exco Pendidikan Kerajaan Selangor, dan beliau datang, kita ada buat few event dia dengan tim bahas dia lah. Kemudian bila dia masuk politik dan sebagainya, kami berinteraksi. Saya menjadi ketua pemuda Pakatan Harapan yang pertama, dan saya lepas saya habis umur di AMK pada tahun 2018, maka saya lepaskan jawatan Ketua Pemuda Harapan itu dan beliau dipilih pula menggantikan saya. So we engage, we interact. Saya merasakan beliau seorang ahli politik yang muda yang berkebolehan. Dan beliau memilih untuk membuat parti muda sebagai satu wadah perjuangan beliau. Jadi saya tidak merasakan itu sebagai satu masalah. Cuma dan memang pernah berjaya. Makna orang yang ambil politik yang based on umur dan sebagainya. Tetapi ultimately bagi saya is that saya melihat politik itu dia kena be lebih inklusif. Dan dia kena jelas what's the stand dalam tentang perjuangan dia beyond soal muda tua dan sebagainya. Jadi sebab itu bagi saya memang selesa, ini wadah saya yang saya ada. Inilah satu-satunya wadah saya daripada saya mula membantu parti ini umur 2001 ketika ia tidak ada apa. Tak pernah kita mimpi jadi menteri, mimpi jadi apa, but we know what we wanted to achieve. Jadi itu mungkin sedikit perbezaan lah kan. Jadi walau bagaimanapun saya tidak ada masalah. Dia ada banyak idea yang baik. Hubungan dia dengan Tun M itu ialah hubungan dia dengan Tun M lah kan. Saya tak nak sebut lebih daripada itu. Tetapi makna itulah makna point yang saya nak katakan. Kalau kita nak melihat kepada kelemahan kita ketika 22 bulan dan sebagainya, nak tak nak, just as you said, kalau kita tengok isu keadilan, nak tak nak, the buck stops with Datuk Seri Anwar. Kalau kita lihat isu kerajaan Pakatan Harapan, of course saya ada saham, Said Saddiq, saham dia besar sikit sebab dia menteri. Tapi ultimately the buck stops with Tun Mahathir. Because that's how it works, leadership. Jadi itu pandangan saya. Jadi mungkin itu je lah yang orang kata a small difference lah, not a big. Dia kadang-kadang Hana je nak buat nampak macam banyak difference.
Nice. Okay, the drilling has stopped. So rephrase the question shorter. Okay, 30 years time, YB, we're all maybe retired, maybe not. But what kind of Setiawangsa do you want us to walk in? Like in terms of Malaysia, what's your vision for it? What's your reality for it? And like I say, inshallah, all of us will be looking after our health a lot better, with AccuAnswer's help, checking our glucose levels to make sure that we are on track not to become diabetic and have other health ails. So what's your reality and vision of the Malaysia that we want to walk in or around on a daily basis? YB Nik.
Yeah, as I said, I think we want to be in a place where there's nothing wrong to be proud to be Malay, Chinese, Indian, Portuguese, whatever. But we have to know that we are in Malaysia and everything is within that context, right? So, I mean, if you are a Muslim, you cannot see other Muslims and take it lock, stock and barrel, nak jadi macam diorang in Malaysia. I mean, even Islam teaches us that, right? You put it into context. If you're a Chinese, similarly, if you're an Indian, and so on and so forth. Because if we look at it as the fact that we're Malaysians, then we tend to be more inclusive. We tend to be more understanding. Because at the end of the day, if you're next door, and I know that to be fair, not everyone lives in such multiracial environment, but Setiawangsa is. There are pockets of very concentrated of one race, but generally people live with multiracial neighbors. And if you live with multiracial neighbors, it's not just about tolerating the dog or the cooking or the, I mean, I don't know, kalau azan, whatever lah. I mean, that's something that which I think a lot of people are already used to. It's about seeing ourselves as a community. If something happens to our neighbor, if something, because in Islam, you're taught that the 40 houses around you, regardless of their faith, their whatever, they are your neighbors and you have a responsibility to them. So I think that's
Yeah.
something that we want to inculcate, because that civic mindedness, I have to say, is still not strong. And this cuts across races in Malaysia. And finally, I think uh, my hope is that everyone in Malaysia, they may be born rich or poor, and they will still. I mean, we're not going to be where everyone has the same amount of money or whatnot. But people can get a decent standard of living. No matter whether they're born in a low cost flat or whether they're born in the top of Puncak Setiawangsa. And they all have the same opportunity to healthcare and the same opportunity to go to a good university locally. So rather than kalau yang kaya terus pergi overseas, or pakai kabel dapat scholarship lagi teruk kan, yang orang kaya ni yang susah ni struggle ambil hutang PTPTN, pergi private college yang tak berapa recognize, keluar tak dapat kerja, kerja dengan 7-Eleven dengan kawan dia yang lepas SPM terus pergi 7-Eleven. Kawan dia yang tu dah lagi senior dah dari dia because he's been working there longer and his PTPTN debt is for nothing, right? And that happens, right? So my point is that because education, if you look at how Tun Razak did it when when he was the prime minister, it was education, education, education. Those were the 3 points, most important, that he not just to help Malays but to help Malaysians, building more schools, sending people overseas, those sort of things. Of course, we have to do it in our context today lah. Kan? I don't think we can afford to send 10,000 people abroad. I don't think it's good either. But we have more universities here, empower them, and not just universities, TVET as well. Kan? Kita nak orang repair pipe, kita have a middle class life, and
And drilling. Yeah.
and really, and we want him to be Malaysian. Right. So not foreigner. No, I mean nothing. I'm not trying to play that card. But if that they pay well, why not? Why can't we pay our kids to do that rather than so that is the Setiawangsa that I want. 30 years down the road.
Well,
Right.
well, YB, what do you think now? That's quite an image that we all want, kan? Nah?
Betul-betul jelas sebab saya sendiri pernah duduk Setiawangsa, saya dapat melihat sendiri kan. Setiawangsa ni dia terbagi kepada betul-betul 3 B40, M40 dan juga T20. So you can totally see satu jajaran yang memang agak dynamic dekat situ, dan saya mengharapkan ada equity tu di-upholdkan rather than equality, tapi equity tu di-upholdkan. Siapa yang layak, dia lah yang patut dapat. Itu yang saya maksudkan, dan saya pun nak lihat Malaysia yang seperti itu.
That's right. I'm right there with you now. Look, Nick, we are very much with your ideology. Thank you so much for being so open today to talk about the good, the bad, the not so pretty, but most importantly, the progression of the Malaysia that we want to live in. So, YB Nik Nazmi, thank you so much for your time, and we'll catch up very, very soon, inshallah. If we don't see you, happy 2022, yeah?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum YB, terima kasih banyak-banyak.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Okay,
Oh.
that was a very interesting discussion.
That was good. It was open. I mean, I
Yeah.
know Nick a little bit, and he's always been very open. He's not the sensitive type to take criticism or whatnot. So yeah, it was a great conversation. Hope you all like our episode of Great People TV. We've got a very jam-packed Great People TV this month. We've got politicians, we've got sports people, we've got entertainers coming on board, and it's going to inspire us all. That's the nature and the ethos of Great People TV, kan Nah?
Betul. And we've got entrepreneurs as well. So yeah, stay tuned and keep on watching Great People TV, okay?
That's right. And we have a quiz question for you. Okay. Okay. So, which high school did YB Nik attend? Okay. So if you missed that, you can just go to Uncle Google or Auntie Google and find the answer. It's a very prestigious school in Malaysia. Starts with an M, ends with a K. So there you have it. So now, do you want to translate that?
Okey, di manakah YB Nik bersekolah? Sekolah dengan YB Nik kat mana? Okey, itu sebenarnya soalan dia, dan kalau anda berjaya mendapatkan jawapan yang tepat, which saya rasa bila Ben dah bagi dah clue
Yeah.
tadi
Well,
memang confirm anda dapat.
if you want a
Anda
holiday, yeah, that's right. If you want a holiday, go to Kuala Kangsar. So yeah.
anda akan dapat memenangi barangan daripada AccuAnswer yang boleh monitor bukan setakat paras hemoglobin anda, paras glukos pun dia boleh monitor, paras sugar semua dia boleh monitor untuk anda sentiasa memastikan bahawa kesihatan anda berada pada tahap yang tip-top.
That's right. That's right. And don't forget, we have a contest. That's right. You can win 500 ringgit cash. How good is that? And then the theme is diabetes. The contest runs from the 1st of December, so just started this week, all the way to 15th of December. Everybody can join. All you've got to do is create a poster, a digital contest poster. Okay, Nah? You want to explain further, sikit?
Okey, kepada anda sebenarnya anda juga berpeluang untuk memenangi RM500 tunai sekiranya anda turut serta dalam pertandingan digital poster contest. Jadi anda hanya perlu hantarkan digital poster yang menarik berkaitan dengan AccuAnswer, dan peraduan ini akan ditamatkan pada 15 Disember 2021 dengan temanya diabetes.
Yeah, that's right. So go to the AccuAnswer Facebook, ACC your answer, type into the Facebook, and then you can find out more information and maklumat right there. And yeah, like I said, it's a very straightforward thing. You can win 500 big ones, and that'll be a nice nice present for your mom, your dad, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever lah. So that is the show now. So until we have it was a special day. Usually we are on Wednesday or Thursday, but today we were on Friday because of YB's very tight schedule, but he managed to squeeze us in. Thank you so much, YB. Alhamdulillah. So on behalf of Hannah and myself, Ben Ibrahim, have a great weekend, everybody. Congratulations to Kuala Lumpur City Football Club because of that victory over Johor a few nights ago, 2-0 at Bukit Jalil Stadium. Kuala Lumpur is enjoying the public holiday. So enjoy the public holiday, stay safe, and we'll see you next week on another episode of Great People TV.
Bye. Assalamualaikum.
Take care.